Marketing sustainability in secondhand. How do you go about that? Now, the analogy that I just had, thinking about this before turning the camera on, was the way in which, say, a gym works. A gym is obviously there to encourage a healthier lifestyle, but if the gym started advertising in a way that was telling you, you need to get to the gym, you need to sort your life out, you need to do this, X, Y, and Z, the kind of angle that it has loses its validity because it's almost quite aggressive. And the reason why I use that as an example is because I think that when we think about secondhand and when we think about the sustainability aspect of it, it's quite easy for most people to use it as a way of leveraging sales rather than to have, I guess, any quality behind what they're saying. You know, take two people, oh God, velvet. Who else, like, when you touch velvet, it makes you feel all weird? Probably just me. There's two different types of people who would use sustainability through a second-hand selling platform. There's one kind of person that would genuinely be actively trying to be sustainable in their everyday life, and advertising it through their business would actually be a byproduct of their own self, and that's what got them to doing sustainability. Then the other person is the fourth wall breaker that's going, I know that this is something I can use as leverage to get more sales. I'm going to just use it without practicing anything. And it's not to say that you have to practice sustainability in your life to advertise it through a business that's sustainable, but to be authentic, I would say that you probably want to be as transparent as possible to just be a true person, because I think that in the long run it'll work out better. So when we kind of think about marketing sustainability through secondhand, like I say just then, with the two sort of types of people that you can get, the people that almost break the fourth wall of it and just sort of go, yeah, this is what I'm using as an advertising ploy. And then the other people that kind of, I would say, use it because they genuinely care about the environment, they care about things, and they want to encourage that message. They're two different types of people within it, right? They're two different types of approaches that people could have. But I want to get into the actual subject matter of the content that you use to encourage people to buy secondhand through a sustainable angle. So going back to the gym analogy, right? If we looked at if you saw your local gym posting adverts on Facebook, right? And they just, and this is me paraphrasing it, saying this is, imagine you saw this, but imagine if they just said something and they were like, put the ice buns down, pick up the bicep, the weights. Why am I talking like that? Put the cakes down, lift this, stop eating food and get in the gym. You'd be like, whoa, the facts are true. Being in a gym is more beneficial than eating bad food. However, don't make me feel bad for doing something that I'm aware is has a good outcome. Everybody's allowed to eat whatever they want. Everybody's allowed to do their own thing. But in the point I'm getting at is it's the way that you angle that persuasion. So if you saw an advert by a vintage company and they just said, I can't believe people still buy fast fashion, it's really hard to do it, because what I'm saying is you don't want to end up just in heated debates with people unnecessarily, unless you come correct and you know what you're talking about. If you come correct and you know what you're talking about, feel free to fire shots and stuff. But the underlying thing is, are you going to convert those people to buy secondhand after they've had an argument with somebody on a Facebook advert comment? Somebody that goes, I've been buying Zara for years, I don't care about the planet, and then you end up going off what the whole thing was about. So when we kind of come back to, I would say, the direction with the adverts that you kind of take with when you put things up, focus on facts, but focus on inadvertent soft sell through the adverts, or the way that you not just talking in adverts, marketing through the way that your website looks or how you present yourself with the description you write on products. Not just putting, this is all secondhand is the best thing to buy and I'll get to my point. When I would do things, I always liked the kind of maths approach with facts. If I tell you that buying a pair of secondhand denim jeans saves 2,700 litres of water being used to make a new pair, I'm not making that up, and it's not that it actually doesn't need water to make the cotton for the denim. That's a fact. But it's the way in which, I almost forgot what was in this bag then, I forget talking and writing. It's the way in which you tell somebody. The underlying thing is most people don't want to feel like you're belittling them or patronising them by either telling them what they're not doing or giving them information that they don't want. So, marketing sustainability through secondhand, for me, I would say the best approaches that you could take are, obviously, if you're somebody who already practices being sustainable in your life, well done you, that's great. The person that's vegan or the person that's teetotal doesn't need to tell you that that's what they do in order for them to still do it. It should be just a part of what they do, and it's a side thing. Do you know what I mean? So my point I'm getting at is that bagging this up is actually well harder than I thought to talk at the same time. So I'm going to do that afterwards. When you come around to advertising sustainability through your secondhand brand, whether it's vintage, whether it's secondhand, the approaches I would advise taking are soft sells. So that would be going down a route of maybe the way that you communicate with people is, something like you act like you've discovered it, like, oh my God, this is mental. We just discovered that 2,700 litres of water is used to make a pair of new Levi's jeans. We've got them for £27 or under. Try them out. And then people will be like, oh, okay. The angle wasn't so aggressively pioneered towards being like, did you know that this is how much water? Because people have access to the internet, and if they wanted to, they could find it out themselves. So when you tell them on an advert, or you tell them with however that is, in that way, I think you start to close the doors on a lot of people. You definitely close the doors on the people that are fast fashion buyers that will now go out of their way to not buy secondhand because of how you've persuaded that sustainable point. Do you see how, even though that seems belittling, it's like defeating things in the wrong way? Nobody needs to feel like they're on a high horse with any point, and we can just pass information on in a nice way. But using sustainability through secondhand, I feel what I would say is the big points to take away from it is don't do the aggressive sell of what people aren't doing. Don't try and overly teach people in a patronizing manner. Make it fun. The best information that you find out about is when somebody's tried to tell you in a way that you're like, oh damn, I just learned something, but I was just watching it because I was entertained. The best adverts that I always see is when I always forget that I'm watching an advert, but then it will be like somebody just talking to somebody in the street, and they'll be asking them a question, and you're considered that person in the street in the advert. I think people need to remember that. When you watch those interview videos that are adverts, you are the person in the street, and that's how they use that almost POV marketing to get your attention. Because everybody just is nosy, and they like to know what people think about things. So when we come around to just advertising, I would say as well, if you're wanting to make sustainability a big part of your journey with secondhand selling, teach yourself about the impacts of fast fashion and how secondhand really sort of benefits by buying secondhand, and really understand the counters for every argument that someone could have against it. Because you're not trying to have arguments with people, but you're trying to inform and educate people. But when you educate and inform people, there's always natural resistance because people don't like to always be told something. So that would be some of my takeaways from it. I would say, I probably said this already, but I would say the three main points to kind of take away from this is if you're already actively being a part of a sustainable background and you're doing secondhand selling or vintage clothing selling, just continue doing your thing. Just make sure that the persuasion you are going is in a really nice way. So I'm going to put you onto somebody actually. Go and check out on TikTok, Positively Green. I think that's what she's called. And we sent her some items ages ago because I really like what she was about. If you want to know how somebody really markets sustainability through just general use, go and check out her content. It's fantastic. I would advise you to go and do that as if you want some inspo. But I would say, other than that, don't be condescending and patronizing to people. People don't need that. We're in a world where people are trying to tell you things aggressively all the time. The hard sell is yesterday's marketing tactic. Might work for some things, but again, if we go back to the gym analogy, if you saw 2 adverts and one gym advert was like, hey, fatty, get that cake down and get to the gym because let's turn them double chins into double wins or something. I know you're thinking that sounds good. It doesn't sound good. It's like, it goes aggressively to the point where you push people away, as opposed to advert 2 being like, hey, did you know that the 50% of people that have joined the gym last month, 35% of them have gone 8 out of 10 times. And then that would make you think, oh, damn, like using the gym, people, like the recent people that are signing up could be like me and they're also using it regularly. That would be my kind of approach with taking it with the sustainable and the secondhand like angle would be, how would you like to learn about something and adopt that process into it and take it from there? I think I got a bit excited with that gym analogy then, so apologies, and I hope that didn't offend anybody saying the word fatty. I know we're in 2023, I don't mean to offend people, I'm using it as a reference for that, the analogy. So yeah, that was that. I'm going to finish off doing these off camera now because I probably wrote different things on all these parcels, so I'm probably going to have to open them all again anyway. But honestly, guys, appreciate anybody that tunes into these videos. It means the world. Sounds a bit much, but yeah, it's cool. I like it. I like making the videos, and I'm excited to keep doing them every day. If ever you got any thoughts you want me to cover, feel free to drop a comment. If you want to start a discussion, feel free to drop a comment, and we'll see where that goes from there. Big up.